Welcome to What's Your It? Let's Talk About It podcast. This is our first episode, and I'm elated to be able to bring it to you. I'm just Antoine, and you know, this podcast is so near and dear to me because there are a lot of things that we just don't talk about. And they may drive you, they may motivate you, they may prevent you, or that's just the way you see the world around you. And this platform, it has been created so that you can talk about it. Whatever that it is, you can talk about it. It may be a taboo topic that most people don't talk about it, but we want to cover it here in this podcast. And so we are excited about it, and we want to hear what you want to hear about. We may talk about homosexuality, lesbianism, uh, whatever the topic may be. Growing up with two moms or two dads, if that's your and you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Whatever it is, I'm on my fourth marriage, and I went through three divorces, and I was the common denominator in every one of those divorces, and I was the common problem. And so I realized that I own that, and I want to talk about it. And so if that's the topic that we want to talk about, hey, let's talk about it, because we got to really own where we are, right? We got to realize where we are. And sometimes people don't understand us, and we may get some understanding here. I believe if we can talk freely on this podcast, then some people may understand. They may not agree with us, but they can get a better understanding of who we are, why we are the way that we are, and give us some sympathy, not really sympathy, or empathy, maybe a better word. Um, and just see it from our perspective. And so this is what this podcast is all about, and I'm so excited. Being a Christian, being a minister, and being divorced is not accepted in some circles. And so I'm open about that, and I'm not proud of it, but I realize that, hey, it's part of my story. And so I'm willing to share that, right? And one of the things that I learned in being divorced, and realizing that I'm the common denominator in each one of them, and I had to grow to this point where I can even talk about it openly, and realize, first of all, I had to realize that I was the problem. And I blame my former or ex spouses? I can. But what help would that do for me? It's not going to help me if I blame them, right? I have to own everything that happened in that relationship, especially being the man. I take that ownership of a ruined marriage. I take it's 100% my fault. And if I could take 100% of the blame for the failed marriages that I've had, then I can make the one that I'm in successful, right? Because I'm taking responsibility for making it successful. And I'm not leaving it up to my wife, my present wife, to do her part, right? I got to take responsibility. And if I'm doing the right things, guess what? Everything else is going to fall into place. And this podcast is not for you to agree or disagree, but it's just to get an understanding across of how we feel about whatever that it is in our lives. And so we want to bring all that to the table. We want to set it out there, and just let it off, get it off our chest, right? And let the world know that we got some issues. We all know that we got some issues. We got some things that we got to work out, think about, and and maybe get some better insight on. See, one of the things that drove me to do this podcast is that a lot of people don't want to talk about what's really going on with them because they don't feel like they really have a voice. And we want to give a voice, whether we agree with it or not. We want to give them a voice, a chance to talk about whatever that is that has happened to them. And we may not agree with them, but we definitely want to give them a voice and let them know that we care, we are here for them, and we want to understand why you feel the way you feel. And a lot of times we don't even know until we get that opportunity to talk about it. And so, even on this podcast, you may come in one way and you may leave out another way just because you had that opportunity to talk about it. The Bible talks about out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. And sometimes we don't even know what's in our heart until we start talking about it. And we're like, wow, I didn't realize I was that passionate about it. I didn't realize I felt that deeply about it. Have you ever been there? I know I've been there a number of occasions, and just by talking about it and having a conversation over it, I realized that I had an opinion, and I just never expressed my opinion because I never had the conversation. Okay, and so this is what this podcast is all about. And so stay tuned. I'm going to be having some guests on. And if you're interested in being a guest, just let me know, drop me a line, and we'll definitely consider that. So what's your it? Let's talk about it podcast. Episode 1 is in the books, and let's go. Let's talk about it and share your story. I'm just Antoine, and we'll see you at the top. Bye for now.